Begin tonight at 5 o'clock with a highly anticipated day. The Pfizer COVID vaccine has received now full FDA approval.
And it's a move many are hoping may help fight vaccine hesitancy. Here's Pat Doris.
In the Columbia Gorge, the federally recognized nonprofit medical group called One Community Health played a leading role in vaccinating many who live around Hood River and the Dalles. They took part in this federal vaccine effort last June, but roughly 6,300 of their 21,000 patients are still not protected. They know there's a lot of false information still out there with the COVID vaccines, so they are moving fast now after the full FDA approval of Pfizer. So are you folks pushing out a bunch of information today about the FDA?
We will be, yes. We're going to probably text message all of our unvaccinated patients, letting them know that it's been fully approved, and hopefully we'll get some more individuals signed up for the vaccine.
In Woodburn, the Salud Clinic is another federally recognized healthcare provider on the front lines. Dr. Antonio German said FDA approval will open minds and sway some who were undecided about whether to trust the vaccine.
We see a lot of patients that come in that have these questions. And so I think this will give for my providers and for myself and that one-on-one interaction with patients to say, hey, look, the science is there. And now we can really say that today with that full authorization in the FDA and lend support for that.
And to the south, in the Medford area where vaccination rates are low and infection numbers are high, Dr. Dan Weiner said things are so bad there is already a slight uptick in the number of people getting COVID shots. But the issue is now so political, some need an excuse to break away from their friends.
And I think people are looking for their healthcare professional that they trust to give them some excuse, if you will, to say, well, my doctor said I really needed to because X or Y. And it feels like that's having an impact. That's giving them some kind of leverage that they can have within their families.
He thinks federal approval will help even more people with that leverage. But he also worries there will be others who cannot get the shot no matter what.
I have patients who are really quite torn. They would very much like to get vaccinated. They're scared not to. And yet the stigma associated with it in their social circles is so great that they are unable. I have 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who want to get vaccinated but can't because their parents are so staunchly opposed to it.
There's a huge surge in COVID cases across Oregon right now. FDA approval and a lot of people getting vaccinated won't be able to change that. But it may stop the next wave. It may also save your life. In Northeast Portland, Pat Doris, KGW News.
And thank you to Pat as he spoke of the surge there. Health officials say that there are more COVID patients in Oregon hospitals than at any other point in the pandemic. The count is up to 937 patients as of today. 253 of them are in the ICU. The graph you're looking at now, that's the daily number of people in the hospital, and there has been a sharp spike that started in July.
Washington's mask mandate has now expanded to cover all people in indoor public places, regardless of vaccination status. It also applies to outdoor areas where social distancing is impossible. The mask requirement is for everyone 5 years and older, but there are some exceptions, like for those who work in places not accessible to the public, small indoor gatherings in private homes, and when actively training or playing a sport. Masks also aren't required while eating or drinking, during theatrical performances, or while leading a religious service. Part of the struggle in the pandemic, and Pat talked about this, has been dealing with misinformation and conspiracy theories surrounding COVID and later with the vaccines. In some of Oregon's hardest hit counties, local health leaders are trying to become more proactive in dealing with the problem. Katie Strite reports from Medford.
Comment after comment, post after post. Conspiracy theories aren't hard to find on social media. They range in everything from the vaccine doesn't work to this whole pandemic is a hoax. Unfortunately, COVID-19 is very real. With a global healthcare crisis on our hands, overwhelmed people on the front lines of this pandemic have had enough.
We need more people to become vaccinated or unfortunately to become ill. That is how we will reach herd immunity, and I guess there's an easy way and a painful way, and we may be going down the painful route.
Now frontline healthcare workers are speaking out at city and county meetings, hoping local leaders will help to inspire others to wear a mask and get vaccinated.
I'm hoping the more we get professional voices on the front line of this discussion, the more we can hopefully push out misinformation.
But part of the battle is stopping the spread of misinformation about COVID-19, especially online. Both Jackson and Josephine County Public Health have been trying to get in front of false conspiracy theories.
Public health is catching up to social media. So there is an effort in Oregon and in the country to modernize public health.
Josephine County Public Health Deputy Officer Dr. Leona O'Keefe says it all comes down to trust. From trusting your doctor to trusting your county leaders. Right now, she worries there's not much of it.
As a result of that erosion of trust over the many years, now here we are in a pandemic where trust is essential.
Jackson County Public Health says it's seeing its fair share of conspiracies, but it doesn't make the reality of the situation any less real.
If we don't lay it out clearly to the public, we're doing them a tremendous disservice. For people to minimize what's happening, the hospitals are in crisis mode. Honestly.
Asante surgeon Scott Nelson says as a community, we need to change our attitude as a whole to get through this.
I know that we all feel that we have our rights and our freedoms, and we certainly do, and I love this country and I'm grateful for those things. But this really is a time for a community to come together and to think about not just ourselves, but about everyone else. And how can we help our community be safe?
With the COVID-19 situation in Jackson and Josephine counties only getting worse this month, this pandemic isn't going to go away until people start making changes.
Police say 5 people are hurt following a shooting in Old Town. It happened late last night near Northwest 4th and Everett. Police say the victims were part of a vigil there for a man who was shot and killed at the Mingle Lounge, which is on the same block, on Sunday morning. Police identified that person as 25-year-old Jamari Herring Sr. All the victims in the vigil shooting are expected to survive. Police say there were many potential witnesses, but none stayed to speak with officers. They're hoping anyone with information will contact them. Portland's mayor says political violence sprinkled throughout the city Sunday could have been much worse. Critics, on the other hand, say the city opened the door for that violence by promising not to intervene. So here's what happened. As expected, the far-right extremist group Proud Boys held a rally Sunday in Northeast Portland, and several Proud Boys members fought members of the far-left group Antifa. Police were largely nowhere to be seen. In fact, they didn't step in until hours later when a man opened fire downtown. Luckily, no one was hurt in that situation. The shooter has been arrested. Police also saying tonight there may have been a second shooter. They're still investigating. In a statement today, Mayor Ted Wheeler praised police for largely staying back, saying it mitigated confrontation, adding the broader public was protected. Some activists are furious, though.
It was striking to me that the police bureau so emphatically came out saying, we're not going to show up. You're on your own. I can't think of any other circumstance where that has been the case. We are so lucky. We're so lucky that nobody was seriously hurt or killed.
Both Portland Police and the mayor's office declined our requests for interviews.
The leader of the Proud Boys has been sentenced to 5 months in jail. Enrique Tarrio pleaded guilty last month. He burned a Black Lives Matter banner that was torn down from a historic black church in Washington, D.C., and also brought 2 high-capacity firearms into the nation's capital just 2 days before the January 6th riot. Several leaders and members of the Proud Boys are also facing charges stemming from the riot. Tarrio has been involved in several Proud Boys protests here in Portland over the past few years. Days after the city council passed a street racing ordinance, street racers shut down multiple Portland locations this weekend. And many were wondering, where were the Portland police? Devin Haskins answers that question for us.
Sunday night was full of dozens of cars drifting, doing donuts in the middle of Portland streets. Some with passengers hanging out the window, coming dangerously close to those watching.
You
could hear it, and then, yeah, after a while you could definitely smell the burning rubber.
Whether it was in Northeast Portland in the Coley neighborhood, or North Portland near Swan Island, innocent drivers and neighbors had little choice but to wait, watch, and listen Sunday night.
I was delayed for an hour.
Jason is a truck driver. He says the street racing and drifting has impacted how the company he works for operates.
Recently, we had to permanently change our route to avoid the street racing.
At least 4 different locations were shut down, including the Fremont Bridge.
We heard just screeching of tires, revving of engines.
Mike Bellingham lives in the Coley neighborhood and called 911 twice.
If anything, it seemed to intensify, and called again, and I said, you know, where are the police? This is out of hand.
Portland police declined interviews, but said they don't have the resources to respond and were busy with other higher priority calls Sunday night. They said they did respond to Southeast Division and 48th at about 3:30 in the morning to break up the group there, issuing only 1 citation.
It seems like it's the people that are doing this don't care and know that there's no repercussions. It was just completely brazen.
This happened just days after the city passed an ordinance outlawing street racing and drifting events like these. Drivers could get fined up to $500, face jail time, and possibly get their cars towed. We don't know of any injuries from Sunday night, but Portland police say 5 people have died since June of 2020 because of street racing. In Portland, Devin Haskins, KGW News.